Hello, my gorgeous Scorpio friends. I'm coming into these January 2022 readings just feeling like I'm going to be myself here. Sometimes I don't know what revelations are going to hit at what moment, how it's going to feel, but there's one thing I do know, and that is that I want us to take the pressure off of January. I want us to bring back the poetry of this time of year, no matter what hemisphere you're in. I think January is often associated with things like really hardcore self-discipline and just like intention setting and control. And this January is so poetic. We have Venus moving retrograde nearly the entire month in Capricorn. We have Mercury beginning a retrograde on the 14th in Aquarius and entering Capricorn during that Aquarius on the 25th and moving back through. And so both of those transits are very reflective. They're very much about like renewal, rebirth, checking in with ourselves. No, it doesn't necessarily have to be about drama. It just depends on how much we are with ourselves or we are pushing ourselves down in a way and trying to be things that don't really fit or feel right for us. We're all going to experience those transits a little differently. There's a lot of energy moving through Capricorn and Aquarius this month. The big thing though, and I really want to stay focused for you all this month because there's something kind of big happening for the Scorpio family this month, which is on the 19th of January. The north node of the moon is moving into Taurus, and the south node of the moon is moving into Scorpio. These two have been in Gemini and Sagittarius for the last year and a half or so, and now they are moving into the Taurus-Scorpio axis. So we're going to start to have eclipses in Taurus and eclipses in Scorpio in the coming year and a half, which means this is going to be a time of transformation. Like already, Scorpio, you are the sign of transformation. You kind of rule the energy of something like eclipses. In my mind, Scorpio and eclipses and transformation, all of that's so connected. South node of the moon here in Scorpio. Now, I just want to take a moment before we get into the cards because this is an important transit for you all, and I'm going to keep focused on that because of that. A lot of times you're going to hear about how, this means that Scorpio energies may be a little bit like demoted or put on the back burner during the time that the South Node is in your sign. But I find that it's a time to really reflect on your relationship with how you relate to Scorpio energy. And the thing is that I am a Sag rising, right? And so I just had the South Node moving through my rising sign for the last year and a half. So I've been kind of thinking about this topic a lot because it had me reassessing my relationship with that, appreciating the things that I love about it, missing the things that I wanted to see amplified more, and also just kind of reconnecting with it in a new way. And that's what I want to say about the South Node moving into your sign. It doesn't mean you're going to have this terrible year and you're going to have to try to be something that you're not and abandon yourself and your Scorpio energy. I think the South Node is a time of real recalibration and real check-in. And, if there are parts of your Scorpio journey that have felt unnecessarily hard, harsh, horrible, unfair, this is a really great time to look at those. Because for me, yes, Scorpio energy is about some of the more intense transformations and the more intense experiences of being with a spirit and a body and all of that for sure. But I think Scorpio, and I think you all know this, I'm not saying this to people who aren't aware of this, but Scorpio is so much more than that. It's a healer. It's a sign of rebirth, renewal, exploration, curiosity, play, a great sense of humor. So many elements of Scorpio that are so great. So this is just a great chance to reflect on how you feel your relationship is going with an energy that is important to you. And if there are aspects of it or parts of it that have kind of come to be larger than life or have come to feel less than supportive of you, this is a wonderful time. And you have a whole year and a half to kind of explore these themes. There's no rush. It's not kind of like a death grip on this transit. You have time to reflect on this. And I do think in some ways the nodes are somewhat subtle. It's a year and a half is long enough for it to be something that you can kind of look back on and understand more clearly as it closes out. But we're just beginning this in January. So don't feel too much pressure, but I did want to just take a moment to address that the South Node is going into your sign, because I do feel like that can sound a little unsupportive or negative towards Scorpio energy during this time. And I don't think that's exactly how we want to be thinking about South Node energy. I actually personally have a South Node in Scorpio. So this is like something that's very innate to me and something that I think doesn't need to be terrible. 8 of Wands. Yeah. So there's a lot moving through in January. There's a lot of reflective energy with Venus and Mercury going retro or being in their retrogrades. We also have like a beautiful new moon in Capricorn, a beautiful full moon in Cancer. Those are going to be really supportive energies to you. Uranus in your opposing sign of Taurus is going direct around the time that the nodes change. So there's a lot of beautiful energy. Knight of Wands. I love Knight of Wands. That's an energy that's been really downplayed during this whole couple of years or a year and a half. That kind of playful, just throw it out there and see what happens energy hasn't been as strong. So it's really fun to see it there. 10 of Wands. This is so perfect for fixed signs. I feel like 10 of Wands in a fixed sign reading is like a tradition at this point, because we just have to carry things all the way to the finish line. We are like, I am not going to put this load of firewood down until I have carried it everywhere that I was supposed to carry it when I originally set out on my life journey. And 2 of Swords. Okay. Let me pull. I am also working with my Animal Totem Tarot today, just to give us a little different window to look through. So we're going to pull a card from there, see what Spirit wants to join us for this discussion. King of Swords, the eagle. That's so perfect because, yeah, there's an eagle-y kind of energy to Scorpio, I think. That insightful, amazing vision, that incisive, even though eagle is often associated with like air signs. Okay, let's talk about all this. Let's talk about what just came out in these cards. I really love what we have here. It's a real mixed bag. It's so interesting with January because everybody's like coming into January being like, well, this month you're not going to be able to sign any contracts or cut your hair or start any relationships because of these things happening. And yet what I'm seeing time and again with the energies is that people they're coming to life. Spirits are like coming to life and coming back to like what they want to be doing in the world. And I'm seeing that here with Scorpio. And that's what I'm saying. Like the South Node isn't going to suddenly make you like dim you down a couple notches and just keep you there for a while. In some ways, this can be a really enlivening time. I mean, and don't forget, while you are Scorpio with the South Node, your opposing sign of Taurus has the North Node. So this means that there's extra love and support in connections, relationships, conversations, connecting to others. There's a lot of energy there that's lighting up like a creative aspect of your life. So don't forget that either. Let's talk about it specifically. 8 of Wands and Knight of Wands. Okay, these guys, they like to move on things. Just get in there and go for it. That's their whole thing. In so many ways, these cards are not complicated because they are swift moving. 8 of Wands for me is kind of like when suddenly something is just moving. Like you may have been waiting, months or weeks or whatever for like that process to begin, that door to open, that application to go through, whatever. Or that idea to like finally start to happen. And the 8 of Wands is like, it's happening. It's moving. Now, I'd say the best way to access 8 of Wands energies, if you are craving this, is to get into small practices in the day. Like if you are wanting to write that book or make that art or begin that new process, start small and just create a small practice, writing 100 words a day or sending 1 email a day that makes sense to you. That will help 8 of Wands energy come find you. However, this is also the kind of energy where it's suddenly things are just moving and it's almost like all the pieces are just happening at once. And it's positive. This is about something that you're wanting to move forward on. Now, the Knight of Wands is an interesting one because it's a slightly different energy here, which is just throw something on the canvas and see what sticks. That's what Knight of Wands is all about. And of course, a lot of times Knight of Wands gets a reputation for being a person that can come in and out of your life really fast. Like you start dating them, you think they're great, and then they're just gone. And yes, it is Venus retrograde. And a lot of people are going to say, that's what happens. You know, you start a relationship with somebody in Venus retrograde, they're going to show up, it's going to seem great, and then they're going to disappear when it's over. Maybe that'll happen to some people, because it does happen in this world, Venus retrograde or not, doesn't it? It's always been something that could happen. And that will especially happen if you're not listening to yourself and noticing when something feels right in your body and when something doesn't feel quite right. Be sure to do that this month. Be sure to check in with your body and your spirit and notice when you are pushing past something that doesn't feel right for you. But for me, the Knight of Wands is so much more important than that person that we date casually and they're in and they're out. The Knight of Wands represents an energy that has been in low supply the last year and a half, which is this kind of, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens if we make an ugly painting. Let's just see what happens if we just try talking to that person, even if they say they don't really, can't really work with us on that project yet or whatever. The Knight of Wands is very much like, I'm just going to try it. I'm not going to like put my entire identity on this thing. I'm not going to feel like it has to be done perfectly. I just want to get started. I just want to try. So both the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Wands here, Scorps, is really saying, if you have something that you have just been you just want to start, you just want to begin, let yourself begin. Throw some paint on a canvas, break through that wall that you have that says you have to do it perfectly or not do it at all. Make that ugly thing first. Do a test run of the YouTube video you want to make or whatever, and make it it could be terrible. Just let yourself do it. Break through that wall. Allow the energy to start flowing. This is a great time to do that. And speaking of perfectionism, we have this 10 of Wands. So there's a really strong theme with all this Wands energy moving through. It's really interesting to me because Wands energy is about the creative impulse. It's the element of creating something out of nothing. So there's a really strong theme here, Scorpios, of there being a very strong creative emphasis going on in January. And that's great. Like I was just talking about, let's unblock and unplug places where maybe you felt you had to hold back or you haven't been allowed to begin. That is tied to this 10 of Wands because this is perfectionism. This is not being able to let go. This is feeling like you have 5 books on your nightstand, let's say, and you're reading all 5 at once. And a couple of them you love. Like you're all for it. You tend to pick those up. There's a couple in there that you started reading and you just say, I should finish this book. So you just force yourself to keep going even though you don't enjoy it. You don't like it that much. There's nobody who's saying you have to read this book in order to earn an A, in order to not ruin your career, whatever. That's just an example. Let those books go. If you don't like reading those books, stop reading the books. Please, you're not proving anything to anybody by finishing a book you're not enjoying, if it's for pleasure specifically too, right? That is 10 of Wands. What are you just carrying that you can't let go of? It can be more serious than that. It can be, of course, you can keep doing like a thing for a friend, right? That you said you could do and you had the energy for it a year ago. And now you're kind of like, I don't have the energy for it. But because you're a Scorpio and you're very loyal and very deep, you feel like you have to keep going. This is a great time to notice where you're doing that. Also with 10 of Wands, this is what I'll say. This is a card of perfectionism. So you won't let yourself begin a new project because you feel that if you can't do it perfectly the first time out of the gate and have it all be just like amazing, that you're not allowed to do it. Let that go. Right now, for the rest of 2022, let it go. That is not the way we're going through things. We are making mock-ups. We are making prototypes. We are trying things out. We are putting paint on the canvas. And quite literally, I challenge you, if you like to do any kind of art, drawing, anything, make something super ugly. Like challenge yourself to it. You'll notice how hard it is to let yourself make something genuinely horrendous and just go for it and have fun with it without judging yourself or holding yourself back. Now we have the Two of Swords here. This is a card that I often see when it's important that we don't jump to conclusions or decisions too quickly. And there is an element in January. I think it's such a creative, spiritual, powerful, amazing month where we can really get insights into ourselves, into our path, and where we're headed. And I'm so excited. But it's also a month of reflection. It's also a month of taking stock of where we are right now and how we're feeling as we move into these new transits, as we move into these new questions. We need to take a moment to really look around. And the Two of Swords for me is just, if you feel like there's something you have pressure where you have to decide yes or no right now, take a breath. As soon as you take that pressure off of yourself to have the answer figured out, you're going to get better information. So if you have that, just give yourself a moment to breathe. Now we have the King of Swords here too, the eagle. And the King of Swords is a decider. That's like kind of his thing. He is a decider. He gets to the heart of something. It's very balanced, kind of justice-oriented decision-making with the King of Swords. And that's really interesting to me because it also feels like the King of Swords, the message here is you're going to have clarity. You actually know the answer. And it's pretty straightforward for you. It's not something that you have to torture yourself over for too long. You know that answer deep down. Give yourself a little space to hear it, to really hear yourself. And I think this month in general, there are two tenets for Scorpio. One, splash that ugly paint on that canvas and get the gunk out and get moving. Let yourself create. Unplug the energetic flow and let it flow through you. Don't be afraid to just start, begin, be bad at it, see what happens. Two, if you feel like you have a lot of pressure, like you need to figure everything out, or you need to come to conclusions, you need to make decisions, or if there's something that is a real decision that you're trying to make, give yourself enough of a breath to relax into your body and to really hear yourself, and answers will come in more easily. So rather than trying to force your answer out of yourself, relax into your answer and the clarity will be there. Relax in to your messy creative process. Relax in to the answers you need. That's it. I have just a few wishes, blessings to send your way for January. So here they are. May this new year bring new perspectives and open doors. May it be a time of healing and warmth and a sense of safety within yourself. May it be a year of heartfelt connection and the fun of exploring the light and play of the world. That is going to be something that's so important with the North Node in your other half of the sky. It's going to be about you exploring the light, playful, fun, go-getter side of yourself and having fun with it. I'm going to be going so much deeper on all of these topics, the Venus retrograde, the North Node shifts, Jupiter and Pisces, which I didn't even get into here today, over on my Patreon. That's where I can really offer that deeper support. It helps me, it helps you. It's a great space. So I would love to see you there. It would be awesome to welcome you over there. You can also find me on Instagram at Vrba. There's only one real me. I'm not sending you cheesy ass messages about how I felt something with you because I'm not full of BS like that. So there's only one real me. There's some impersonators out there, but you can just follow me. And if somebody else tries to message you, you can just report them. So I'll leave that correct handle as well as my email and my website so you know where to find me. And I will be back here so soon for more chats. I love you, Scorpio friends. Have a gorgeous beginning to 2022.